Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swa Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Sushusho Shraddhadanasya Vasudeva Kataruchi Syanmahat Sevaya Vipra Punyatirtha Nishevanat Shrinvata Swakata Krishna Punyashravana Kirtana Ridyantasto Hiyabadrani Vidhunoti Suhritsatam Nashtaprayeshvabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Tadarajastamo Bhava Kamalobhadayascha ye Cheta eterana viddam stitam satve prasidati Evam prasanna manaso Bhagavad Bhakti Yogatah Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam Mukta Sangasya Jayate Vidyate Hrudaya Grantis Chidyante Sarva Samshayah Shiyante Chasya Karmani Drishta Evatmanishvare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are in this chapter of Queen Kunti's prayers, and as we know, these are all very exalted, and so I'm fortunate to be part of this reading, but certainly not qualified. Now, these are all emotions of internal emotions of Yudhishthira Maharaj that is at a level because pure devotees' emotions are inconceivable and not very easily understandable for conditioned souls. So, with that pretext, somehow or other, we are given. I mean, people like me also are given access to this internal contemplations and emotions of a pure devotee and the response of Krishna for those emotions. So that's the beauty of Bhagavatam, that it gives us access for all these unaccessible high-end exchanges. If not for Srimad Bhagavatam, we would be probably knowing this as a story, not even as a pastime, but as a story or a history. So, with all due respect to Bhagavatam, we will read the last verse of Queen Kunti's prayers, that chapter. Of course, it's not the last verse of Queen Kunti's prayers, but now Yudhishthira Maharaj has been expressing his lamentation and his uh, feelings of how do you put it? We can't put it as guilt because guilt is very material. Compassion. So he's expressing his deep compassion and his deep feelings of sorrow towards the men who got killed during the Kurukshetra war. So and he's taking responsibility for not being able to protect them at that situation. That's the true Kshatriya. Not like I have so much army, I can do whatever I want. So now we are getting into the expressions of Yudhishthira Maharaj. So, yeah, all right. Yata pankena pankambaha suraya va surakrutam bhutahatyam tataivaikam nayagner mashtumarhati. Once more, we will read. Yata pankena pankambaha suraya va surakrutam bhutahatyam tataivaikam nayagyer mashtumarhati. Yata, as much as, pankena, by the mud, panka ambaha, water mixed with mud, suraya, by wine, va, either, surakritam, impurity caused by the slight touch of wine, bhuta hatyam, killing of animals, tata, like that, eva, certainly, ekam, one, na, never, yajnaihi, by the prescribed sacrifices, mashtum, to counteract. Arhati is worthwhile. So, translation and purport by our dear Srila Prabhupada. As it's not possible to filter muddy water through mud or purify a wine stained pot with wine, it is not possible to counteract the killing of men by sacrificing animals. So, here we can see the mood of Yudhishthira Maharaj. We'll read the purport too before we discuss. Ashwamedha yagyas or Gomedha yagyas, sacrifices in which a horse or a bull is sacrificed, were not, of course, for the purpose of killing the animals. Lord Chaitanya said that such animals sacrificed on the altar of yagya were rejuvenated and a new life was given to them. It was just to prove the efficacy of the hymns of the Vedas. By recitation of the hymns of the Vedas in the proper way, certainly the performer gets relief from the reactions of sins. But in case of such sacrifices improperly done under inexpert management, surely one has to become responsible for animal sacrifice. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, there is no possibility of becoming the of performing the yagyas perfectly for want of expert brahmanas who are able to conduct such yagyas. Maharaj Yudhishthir therefore gives a hint to performing sacrifices in the age of Kali. In the Kali Yuga, the only sacrifice recommended is the performance of Hari Nama Yagya inaugurated by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But one should not indulge in animal killing and counteract it by performing the Harinam Yagya. Those who are devotees of the Lord never kill an animal for self interest, and as the Lord ordered Arjuna, they do not refrain from performing the duty of a Kshatriya. The whole purpose, therefore, is served when everything is done for the will of the Lord. This is possible only for the devotees. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the first canto, 8th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled Prayers of Queen Kunti and Parikshit Saved. So that is our verse for today. So when we go back again to the translation. So um, what's happening here? Yesterday, Janaki Mataji very nicely elaborated on Grihamedi and Grihastha, the difference between the consciousness of both. And um, she, when she brought it up in detail, actually, uh, what is the difference between these two categories of people? So here we are talking about um, uh, Maharaj Yudhishthir, who is just now grieving for all what has happened because of Kurukshetra war. And he's saying similar to, I mean, not exactly similar, but similar to Arjuna's dilemma about fear of sinful reactions. And here it's not fear because it's already done, but he's like, there's no way to counteract. So it's more of lamentation. Um, there's no way to counteract. So the analogy that he's giving is very powerful and very practical, actually. So it's not possible to filter muddy water through mud. Um, when there is muddy water, we have to first take it and let it sit for the mud to settle down. Precipitation has to happen, and the precipitation happens and filtering happens. Then there is some clean water or without the particles, right? It cannot be filtered through mud again. It's like a no-brainer, but it's beautifully written. And on purify the wine stained pot with wine. You know, this is also a very strong example, actually. So because when the stain is one thing, and there is another verse somewhere in Bhagavatam which I don't recollect, that the the smell, even if the pot of liquor is cleansed, the smell of liquor doesn't leave that pot. So it's like similar to that here. The wine stained pot you cannot clean with alcohol. It's not going to get cleansed, because that stain is again going to form more and more. So why is this analogy given? If we connect it to nectar of instruction, we can see the analogy very powerfully given is, so the prayaschitta, right? The Vedic recommendation for counteraction. A nice name is prayaschitta. So the prayaschitta cannot really counteract the impurities of heart. So not Prabhupada, sorry, Yudhishthira Maharaj is saying it's not possible to counteract the killing of men by sacrificing animals, because he is saying everybody as his citizens, animals, men, or anyone. That's the perfect Prajapati, like he's really like seeing everyone as prajas, all living entities as his prajas in the society or in his kingdom. So, well, I killed one person, and then to counteract that, I want to go and kill another living entity. That's not going to work. That's what he's saying. From this purport itself, we can come to a safe conclusion and understanding and clarity in our heart that prayashchittas don't work. So that's why even Parikshit Maharaj asked in the first canto, no, sorry, he will ask in the sixth canto, if I remember right, that he says that what's the use of this prayashchittas? Because Sukadeva Goswami tells about all the narakas, I mean, all the hellish planets. And then he asks, what's the method of purification for it? It's like a test from a spiritual master to the disciple. So then Parikshit Maharaj says that, well, Sukadeva Goswami says then, some prayaschitta can be done and all this kind of stuff. Then Parikshit Maharaj says, what is the use of such prayaschitta? It does not help, because it's like elephant taking a bath and then going on the shore and then putting mud all over its body. It's really the manye kunjara sauchavat, the cleanliness, the cleaning pattern, cleaning process of elephant it's not very, it doesn't really clean. It feels like cleaning, but it doesn't clean because there is soil all over the body of the elephant again. So similarly, here our Yudhishthira Maharaj is saying that killing of men cannot be counteracted by killing of animals. So he's bringing up this point at a different light. He's bringing up it this point to say that, well, yeah, I can do Ashwamedha Yagya, Gomedha Yagya, all this kind of stuff. But how is it going to take care of my sinful, whatever I have accrued um, in, in participating or in engaging or in almost like leading this war? So that's something that we can see from here. So if Prayaschitta is not there, what's the hope? Because people in general have this feeling of kind of like a, what do you say, faulty hope, I mean, but hope that oh yeah, I'm a papi and I have done so many sins, but you know what, there are in Vedas there are some things are given, I can always go and um, cleanse myself. So people go dip in Ganges, and people go and perform some rituals in Gaya, and there's so many things all over the place with the wrong consciousness, of course. Like, of course, Mother Ganga is very purifying, but then the consciousness is not right. And then we also hear Prabhupada giving this not an yeah example pretty much as how Christians do confessions on Sunday, and then Monday onwards again routine starts. So all the sins can be dumped into on Jesus, and because he is anyway getting crucified, so we can give ours also to him, so he can get crucified for us. So anyway, don't want to bring religion too much here, but the consciousness of uh, uh, people who are committing sins or have committed sins is to just cleanse or escape the reactions. Escaping the reactions is the consciousness behind with which this is being done. Not actually to purify oneself, but to escape. So here in the purport, let's read how Prabhupada is bringing it out, that Lord Chaitanya said that such animals sacrificed on the altar of the yagya were rejuvenated and new life was given to them. It was just to prove the efficacy of the hymns of the Vedas. So this was the purpose, and that was possible at that age. In Satya, Treta, and Dwapara, this possibility was there. The power was there, and the truth was there. Um, we know Dharma, the bull has four legs. Mercy or compassion, cleanliness, truthfulness, and something else, austerity. So, except for truthfulness, everything is slaughtered, everything is taken away now. I mean, that truthfulness also, it's very weak. But in the Treta and the yugas before this, all four were intact. So there were some discrepancies here and there, of course, but at least, it was not like broken intentionally. So these all four they were properly in place, and so there was power in what the Brahmanas did at those times. There was power in what Kshatriyas did in those times. So they were able to do these kind of yagyas for the benefit of both parties. It's a win-win situation, actually a better situation for the person, for the animal who's going to get sacrificed, because they're going to get a fresh body, and mostly the a human body. So it's very much on the soul platform. It's not on the bodily platform at all. It is 100% on the soul platform, the yajnas that were performed before. But now what's happening? Prabhupada is saying that, but in case such sacrifices improperly done under inexpected, this is like a imperfection in Kali Yuga, that inexpert management, surely one has to become responsible for, animal sacrifice or animal killing, basically. So here now, what's happening? People quote Vedas and say that Vedas are cruel, and this is, if Vedas are really for spiritual knowledge, why these things are there, those things are there. But first of all, one needs to understand what is spirit, what is spiritual knowledge, what does action and spiritual knowledge look like, you know. So this is what it looks like. It's a win-win situation for everybody who is participating, including the animal. Anyway, so what is the resolution for Kali Yuga? Then there should be something for us, just because we have taken, of course, it's our responsibility. We have come into this world during Kali Yuga, but Krishna never abandons anybody, even if we are, there is a verse in Bhagavad Gita, 6th chapter, apichedasi papebhyo, uh, something papa kritamaha, papebhya papa kritamaha. Fourth chapter, I think. Yeah, fourth chapter, transcendental knowledge. So, what is even the most sinful of the sinners, Krishna doesn't abandon. He never lets us down. He always provides. So what does he provide? He said, there's not going to be austerity, there's not going to be perfect cleanliness, there's not going to be perfect mercy and compassion, and truthfulness is going to be weak in Kali Yuga. So guys, you're there in Kali Yuga, just do Harinam Sankirtan. That's sufficient. How simple he has made it for the most sinful, you know I mean, we can tell, right? Like in Kali Yuga is the most sinful age. So if we are participating in this Kali Yuga, if you are living this Kali Yuga, there's a reason why. So, but he never abandons anyone. So he's given the simplest process. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, there is no possibility of performing the yagyas perfectly for want of expert brahmanas who are able to conduct such yagyas. So, Maharaj Yudhishthir therefore gives a hint to performing sacrifices in the age of Kali. In the Kali Yuga, the only sacrifice recommended is the performance of Harinama Yagya, inaugurated by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He just didn't just give the process and just say, okay, you figure it out. He didn't even do that. He came down, lived among us as Lord Chaitanya, and he said, this is how you do it. So he exemplified it so that we don't question him again. Well, you can tell everything, but who's going to do it? We can't question him like that. So he knows the mentality of Kali Yugites. So he came, he descended, and he came to our level, and lived the life of a devotee. So now Prabhupada is expanding, but one should not indulge in such animal killing and counteract it by performing the Harinam Yagya. We know this is the eighth offense in the 10 offenses of towards holy name, right? One should not equate it with the karmakanda rituals. So that's what is being told here. So we should avoid that. And as the Lord ordered Arjuna, they do not refrain from performing the duty of Kshatriya. I mean, this Kshatriya duty is one thing. We have to. Oh, sorry, I skipped a sentence there. Those who are devotees of the Lord never kill an animal for self-interest, and they do not refrain from performing the duty of a Kshatriya. So we don't have to worry about the Kshatriya business right now, but that is the mood of a devotee, that whatever service is being given, whether it is a Kshatriya service means we don't have to, do wars or anything. Any kind of administration, management, protection, many things, many roles we play in our life. There is a tinge of this and that and everything. So all kinds of services that we perform, we don't refrain from performing a duty. Duty means for us it's service. Then the whole purpose therefore is served when everything is done for the will of the Lord. This is possible only for devotees. Very beautiful, right? Another verse come to my mind in second chapter. Yava natta udapane sarvata samplutodake tavan sarveshu bhuteshu something something. Ramana say Vijanata, I don't remember. The analogy is, Krishna says that all the purposes in a village, when we see there are so many little rivers, sorry, little wells. So one well, I mean, in olden days at least, one well is kept for this purpose, one well is kept for cooking purpose. There's just different. They just keep it separate. So here Krishna tells in second chapter that all the purposes, each well you have to go and collect, instead go to a river. Your job is done very easily. So similarly, each price chitta, each thing you go and counteract this one, that one, how many things we can ever do it even. So don't even bother about everything. Go do bhakti yoga, action in Krishna consciousness, and it will meet everything. And this is possible. The last sentence and first sentence, as we know, Prabhupada is so expert, and this is the conclusion of this chapter. So see the last sentence. He's saying this is possible only for the devotees. So how fortunate that he is extending this possibility for us. He's extending this opportunity for everyone. Whoever is coming in contact with this 8th chapter, they have the possibility. Because just by reading this, we understand that there is bhakti yoga encompasses everything. Because that's all we need to do. I mean, it's the re-establishment of one's relationship with Krishna and acting on that platform with Guru and Krishna, acting in relationship. So wherever little we may be, but if we do this, achieved, goal achieved, you know. And there are beautiful verses we all know. Also, there is a beautiful verse of Devarshi Bhutapta Nrinam Pitranam Nakinkaro Rajan Nakinkaro Nayam Rinicha Rajan. I forget. Then Gato Mukundam Parihritya Kartam. The verse says that I'm not obliged to the Devas, I'm not obliged to the Rishis, I'm not obliged to Deva, Rishi, Bhutapta, all living entities. Deva, Rishi, Bhutapta, Nrinam, not any human being, Pitra, forefathers, Na Kinkaro, I am Rinicha Rajan. I'm not this is not my service area. I'm not meaning I'm not obliged in service to each of them individually, because Gato Mukundam Parihritya Kartam, once taken shelter of the Lord who gives ultimate, that is Mukunda, then one is not obliged to even Devatas. So there is no need. I mean, I can bring up some controversial things, but I don't want to. There is no need to perform all kinds of pujas, and I mean, not like Vaishnava worships, but everything just even to satisfy and please our family and friends and this one, that one. At least in our heart, we don't have to, do it. We can just be convinced that this possibility of pleasing everyone in the world, and this world and the nether world, and in Pitraloka, in every single person in the creation, spiritual or material, will be pleased if we just perform devotional service. Their pleasure may not be obvious sometimes. There may be opposition, but we know that it's the benefit. This is the only thing that we can do to benefit ourselves and others. Madhavendra Puri is a great example. He says, "Oh, my dear Sandhya Vandana, all good unto you, but I'm not going to do it anymore for you because I'm doing it everything for Krishna. So you're covered." So he say, I mean, this is not the exact words. I mean, the exact translation. I'm paraphrasing, but the mood, our Acharya is passing on something for us, and I think it's our sorry responsibility to receive, and not just responsibility. It's just affectionately they're giving. Affectionately will receive. So purification through the path given by disciplic succession is the ultimate, and that will make sure that we and whoever is around us and whoever is connected with us, everybody gets benefited, whether or not we are able to see it and they are unable to see it. So with that we will end here. 7:32. Okay, so thank you so much, and please add, edit, delete anything you would like to uh, do. We'll take another 5 minutes for that, even though it's a little late. Thank you very much.
Haribol Mata. Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
My thought, little, I was thinking when you read all this, my thought went to Jagannath Puri, and then I thought maybe in Jagannath Puri, people are not even, especially the foreigners, are not even allowed inside the temple.
Yeah.
And now Prabhupada, by his mercy, um, a dog eater, a Chandala, even from the people from China, they became devotees, and they are in the altar today. So what a mercy! And I was thinking, how this, Prabhupada is so much merciful. Then my thought went back to Lord Nityananda, because Jaga and Madai, they were doing, anything in the world, any sinful activities they were doing anyway.
Yeah.
And Lord Nityananda gave that mercy. And then I was thinking, oh, how did Prabhupada do it? Then my thought went back to Lord Nityananda,
Yeah.
that, the mercy came from Chaitanya. That means Nityananda's mercy. So that's what's flowing even today.
Yeah.
So, so the another thing is, Yani Kanicha Papani Brahma Hatidi Kanicha. Tani Tani Punashanti Pradakshana Pade Pade. So I feel fortunate to be in this movement and then practice Krishna conscious. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Yes, it is the mood of our acharyas to give the absolute. That's why they said every. I mean, I don't want to get into it. It's a long discussion, but Prabhupada is excellent. We'll stop there. Yes, Mohanila Prabhu, I think you unmuted. I don't know who unmuted. Um, maybe I didn't see it wrong. Yeah, Mohanila Prabhu, you're unmuted. Would you like to
Yes,
say something? Yeah.
yes, Mataji. It's more of a question. Sorry,
Oh.
I'm driving, so maybe I might go. Yeah. So I was just thinking, right? When we and beautifully put. Thank you so much. You very expertly put it. How Prayaschitta, how Prayaschitta is important at the same time, the right way to do it. My question is, say, for example, if I am somebody who does not follow the process of Krishna consciousness, and I'm just putting in myself in that shoes to bring my question, right? So I have faith in that process, right, of Prayaschitta. And that is the reason why, I know that there's a potency in this process.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm doing it, because I'm not going to blindly do it, because unless, and Krishna says, right, you have faith, that's why you do things. Without faith, you wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Similarly, we have faith in the process of Krishna consciousness. The potency is there in the process of Krishna consciousness.
Yeah.
And we hope that Prayaschitta happens, right? We hope that cleansing happens. Now, what is the difference I'm trying to think is, because the potency is there in both the things.
Yeah.
Then what is the difference that our acharyas are trying to point out here, right? Because one may perform, the same process of Krishna consciousness while the potency is there. What is that we should be focusing on, so that the true potency, we know, right, the process of Krishna consciousness cleansing, it is the highest of all, yes. But I may miss the whole point if I do Prayaschitta like the other person too, right? So I'm just trying to think, what is it?
I am going to repeat it for my clarity. So you're asking, Prabhu, that there are other Prayaschitta methods that we know other than the bhakti process. So a person who is doing that is having some faith in it, and so they're doing it. And here we are practicing devotees. We are also trying to cleanse ourselves. So we engage in the process that's given to us. That is, our primary core process of Sankirtan or cleansing, however we want to put it, like our bhakti process, basically. So, first thing is, what's the difference between these two if both are trying to cleanse? Second question, what I understand is that what should be our approach or consciousness behind what we are doing here, because we are also trying to do cleansing. Is that right? Am I understanding you correctly?
Actually, it is one question.
Okay.
The reason why I'm saying is, yes, there is faith and there is potency also, right? Because the other process of Prayaschitta not necessarily doesn't have the potency, right? There is potency in these Asmaveda Yajnas and Gomeda Yajnas, right?
Yeah.
So similarly, there is potency in the process of Krishna consciousness too, right?
Yes, yes.
I'm just trying to see, we may miss the train if we don't understand.
Ah,
You know what I'm saying?
I hope I understood, but I'll it's very nice, Prabhu. Very thoughtful question. So, first thing that comes to me is again Parikshit Maharaj's wonder of why are they doing this prayaschitta? Why, how is it going to help? So, yes, we do acknowledge that these methods that are given in the Vedas are part of Krishna's system, because one who doesn't have any access to anything, if, gradually, we all know the yoga ladder. So when one at least submits to an authority, it brings one from animal life to human life. So then it kind of brings some responsibility. So slowly a person who is keeping on doing prayaschitta, then finally at one point they realize, why should I do this prayaschitta? Why can't I resolve it completely? So that invitation is there to participate and be part of Krishna's system and gradually progress. So, but here we are doing something for eternal. From the beginning, the process and the result is permanent. So I feel that we will not miss the train if we keep that in our consciousness, that the cleansing that's happening for me is not to fix the immediate situations and get some immediate result, but I have trust that this cleansing process is going to completely purify me and quickly do it, so we actually realize ourselves sooner than waiting around and sticking to this one and that one and the other one and taking a long time to get into Krishna's actual inner circle. I mean, the consciousness that I am understanding is that complete faith in direct process of Krishna consciousness. Of course, complete, when I say, there can be many completes. Complete doesn't mean we are pure devotees, not that kind of complete. In a particular situation, see, for example, we all believe in prasadam. So we have faith, we have 100% faith that the prasadam is the one that I want to honor, because it is Krishna's mercy. Who else can, so complete faith means at a given particular situation, we have firm faith. That's what I mean. Not like to the level of Srila Prabhupada or something. We have to get there slowly. But the consciousness behind doing is for our purification in terms of awakening our real us, the real us, our real we. Um, when that is there, there's no more, we won't be even thinking of committing any sins, right? That proclivity is gone when a person is purified completely. So I don't know if this addresses. So if I understand that when we do this with patience, enthusiasm, and confidence in the process, that this is doing it once for all for me, then even if we get obstacles, even after, because purification is not a joke either, because the coal is becoming polished to become diamond. So if imagine this, imagine the situation of the coal who's getting rubbed and scratched and polished, and oh my God, such a pain sometimes to think of it. But we endure it because we know this is going to be, I know the end result. So that then endurance comes, and faith stays and increases, whether or not we see immediate result. So if we stick to it, then we don't miss the train. I hope this. I don't know if you can elaborate if it is not addressing what you're trying to explore.
No, Mataji, I think it came out to be clear for me, because when you explain the process of cleansing, I'll repeat what you said probably. I think, and correct me if my understanding is wrong then, right? So you said the process of Krishna consciousness is going to be cleansing, So probably the missing piece in the other forms of prayaschitta is it helps you counteract your sins that were committed,
Yeah.
not necessarily the potency to commit future sins is removed. But when you
Yes.
explained Krishna consciousness will also remove the potency.
Yes. It
Okay.
is proclivity for us. The
Hmm.
tendency is gone. The
Now,
tendency is gone.
yeah. So now, am I right in my understanding that all these Aswamedha yajnas or other prayaschitas, and again, we don't want to offend anybody who does that, is if we told them, yes, what you're doing may be right to counteract your past sins, but this doesn't necessarily take away your potency. Is that the right understanding when we compare the two processes?
It's the right understanding, but I don't know if it will be a right communication for them, because
Yes.
Let me
one is certainly those yagyas are not prescribed for now. It is going to accrue more sin, as we know. It's going to accrue if somebody is really into Ashwamedha yagyas. And I came to know a few years back somebody was trying to do something like this. Not like personal contact, somebody randomly in WhatsApp, I don't know, wherever the message got spread. They're not at all purifying. They're going in the opposite direction, because this is not the recommended process. Especially animal sacrifice is not recommended process for now. But in general, with the other prayaschitas that we say, this puja, that puja, the other one, and the other one, and the other one, um, yes, we have the understanding. We can be firm in our understanding, so we don't have to participate and do it. But if somebody is doing it, and if their faith is there, we can only add Krishna to their life rather than stopping what they're doing. I guess it depends on each person's level of receptivity, I guess, Prabhu. But our understanding is not compromised because somebody else is not able to uh, resolve it in their hearts, in one sense.
Yes, Mathaji. Thank you so much. I think
Prabhu and
it never
Mathaji,
struck, the difference never struck to me. Thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you, Prabhu. It is exactly what is avidya, right? Avidya is ignorance is the cause for all sins. Ignorance of our real self. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, "Swatattva vibhram." We don't know who we are. We don't know who God is. We don't know what's the process. We don't know what is the world. We really are just zoned out people, zombies, you know. So when avidya is the cause of all this chain that is getting, that avidya is slashed, then what happens? Everything else is taken care. So our process is removing the covering of ignorance that unfortunately we have accepted while coming to this world and leaving Krishna. Like Narada Muni says in his fourth chapter, he beautifully says, I mean, I think we are over time now. He beautifully says that it's only, he tells Vyasadeva that at that time when I realized that Krishna is my master, I mean, this is not the exact words. He says, I understood, Vyasa, that it is only due to my ignorance that I accepted gross and subtle coverings for myself and Krishna. He says something like, it's very powerful. I can try to find that verse. He realized. So that's what we are into. We are trying to realize. We are getting glimpses, but I'm sure we will get the full product when we complete. Like Vaisheshika Prabhu says, Krishna gives samples, but for full product, you have to pay the price of faith. It's like that. Anyway,
Yes,
sorry.
Mathaji. Thank you so much for taking the time for me.
Thank you. Yeah. I think two more.
I have a question.
Yes, Prabhu.
So I'm trying to understand these concepts. Very broad and very difficult to comprehend for people like me. Then why did Krishna made Dharmaraj go through the Aswamedha Yajna? Being Dharmaraj is a pure devotee, Krishna is Supreme Lord. Why he is asking Dharmaraj to go with the Aswamedha Yajna? Do you have any thoughts, Mataji?
The fact that Krishna is asking and to do is already bhakti, because Krishna is asking. That's one. Number two is, it is Dwapara Yuga, it's not Kali. So right now what Krishna is asking us is Sankirtan. So if Krishna asks, that is bhakti. The principle is to do what Krishna says, and to directly do what Krishna says, not indirectly. Of course, then we can argue that then why did Krishna give all these Vedas with karma kanda rituals? He provides a platform for everybody to follow, and he doesn't want to exclude anyone from his system. But but we need to. He also says that among all these, what does it say in 6th chapter Bhagavad Gita? There are so many yogas, this one, that one. Of all the yogis, who's the best? My devotee. So what do I want to be? I have to decide. Krishna gives multiple options because he doesn't force anyone. But when we compare Yudhishthira Maharaj and that particular situation, Krishna is asking it for a purpose. So then Maharaj Yudhishthira is doing as a pure devotee. They don't even bother if it is going to cause any problem to them, because Krishna is asking. So for each age, Krishna may ask different things because he knows what works in which age. That's my understanding, Prabhu. I may be incomplete in my understanding, but yeah.
Because what my understanding is, Dwapara Yuga is for deity worship, not yagnas. So that's we don't know.
Yeah, maybe that's why I said my understanding is incomplete. But to me, it is just that Krishna is asking. Why we don't have to have a problem because he is asking. He even told Yudhishthira Maharaj to lie, right? So there was some potency at that point, and he said, and we know what's the potency. The animal is getting benefited at a different level.
But
And
still, even when he lied, he has to go through that hell a little bit. Even though it was told by Krishna, it's not that he did not take that reaction for it.
devotee doesn't care, no, Prabhu, whether they are going through hell.
Maybe Yudhishthira Maharaj doesn't care, but for general people, it shows that doesn't matter when you do a mistake, you have to go through the process. Doesn't matter whether it's told by Krishna or anybody. So, I mean, it's a perspective, right? How you see that. From Dharmaraj perspective, he doesn't care. But from if you come out of that shoes and see, oh my gosh, doesn't matter.
So we only take what is told to us, not what is told to Dharmaraj. In one sense, I'm sorry. I'm also talking in
Thank you,
a very open
I
way.
don't want to continue the discussion. I got it. Thank you.
Sorry. Krishna. Okay. I think it's 7:50, my dear devotees. I don't know if it is appropriate for us to continue, but please correct something that you want to correct. Shivala Prabhu had his mic unmuted.
Thank you, Mathaji. I was listening to the conversations here. My questions very, very pertinent, very relevant. What I'd like to add and clarify based on my understanding is, first of all, Prayaschitta is very, very important, right? It's a sign of a higher understanding of what life means, where we are and where we're going. That in itself is a sign of, advancement spiritually. Okay, so Prayaschitta is very important. As we've heard from Rompad Maharaj several times on this topic, and as you rightly pointed out as well, Prayaschitta or atonement is very, very important, but it does not check the tendency, as you said, the proclivity to commit those offenses again and again. Okay, so Prayaschitta again should not be confused with the Bhakti principle. Bhakti principle is not Prayaschitta, to my understanding, and from what I've heard. Bhakti is above and beyond Prayaschitta. Prayaschitta is done for various reasons, to gain powers, to gain siddhis, to gain, and also in this case, as Pani Prabhu, Panduranga Gopal Prabhu mentioned, in this case, Krishna is advising Dharmaraj. But there are reasons why it is done, and we don't want to go there. Absolutely not. Krishna was the same Krishna who's also told Arjuna, kill Ashwatthama, lop his head off, right? But that's not, we shouldn't be taking those things literally. What we need to apply is the Bhakti principle, because the Bhakti principle is above atonement And a case in point, that comes to my mind in our contemporary lives, I normally have, these kinds of discussions at lunch or, during a free time with my team. And on one such occasion in the past, one of my directors reporting to me, she's of Jewish faith. And so she was mentioning that, they have in the Jewish faith, they have one special day of the year, which is the Day of Atonement. And that is the day that all Jews pray that they are forgiven for all the sins that they've committed for the year. So what struck me was, okay, so they're begging for atonement, they're begging for forgiveness, but then they go back to their business after that for the whole year, rest of the year. And then comes the next year, and then comes the Day of Atonement, and then they're back to asking for forgiveness. So it's a cycle. It doesn't really help, right? So we need to keep that in mind. Is basically through the bhakti principle, though, we are automatically relieved of repeating those sins, right? Repeating those mistakes. And Rompad Maharaj, Guru Maharaj has also very clearly said, it's important for us to recognize that we've made certain mistakes, right? Very specifically, and the anarthas that we have. Introspection is very important, but don't dwell on them. Don't dwell on them because that's going to hold us back. Instead, apply the bhakti principle so that that higher taste that we achieve will automatically remove all of these base desires that we have, which are the cause for all the anarthas that we commit. That if we can put that in perspective that way, it becomes easier for us to understand that while prayaschitta is very important, it is a sign of spiritual advancement. It in itself will not check the tendency. Therefore, we need to apply the bhakti to be able to achieve that higher taste, which in itself will remove the desires or the base desires, commit these anarthas again and again. I hope that helps.
Thank you, Prabhu, for adding. Okay, devotees, I think it really is late. I'm so sorry that we took so much time. Normally we end on time, but we should today too. So,
Satarupa, maybe I will call you in the evening. I want to understand this bhakti principle from atonement. So maybe you can enlighten me. I'm really interested.
I'll try to. You're giving me an assignment homework, Prabhu. I'll try my best to find.
No,
Condition supply.
these are the very interesting topics because I feel when we are stuck with this, even after 20 years, I don't think I'm making any progress. I want to clarify these doubts. I don't know anything. To be honest, I have no clue what is going on. There is so many things happening in mind. If I don't have answers, or at least if I don't get convinced, I don't think I'll be able to progress. So I want to clarify these things from seniors like you and
Please
I will.
don't put me in the same with them, Prabhu. They're definitely senior, so
That's
I'm
okay.
trying.
I have
So
connection with
we'll
you
try to
also.
read something. We will try to read something. Thank you so much for
Absolutely.
taking me to practical levels. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji.
Yes,
Hare
same
Krishna.
thought, Mata, but only thing is condition supply in bhakti also.
Maybe we should. You're bringing up another perspective. We'll try to put it out for Friday, Saturday, Sunday 1 hour classes. Okay. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Thank you for everybody who spoke up and discussed, and sorry that we didn't have time to hear everyone else who is present. And I see, I think Kanakabja Prabhu has joined. Welcome, Prabhu. We haven't met personally, but we are happy to have you.
Thank you, Mata. Very happy to hear you. I had some more. I just wanted to speak about this prayaschitta and that Pindadana. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, he went to Gaya for giving the Pindadana for his father when he left. So it is a very important part when you practice Bhakti Yoga. we must follow this ritual sometime, not all the time. Actually, what is happening in one of the acharyas says wrote a very beautiful song like that. Ved vidhi chhadi vedona hari harinam sada gaire hai hok mom lakh janma tahe kono koti nai re sandhya amar bandha hok tahe nahi kono shok tarpana jal arpana bina rodhu pitrilok ghosuk jagate mam ninda khyati ঘোষক জগতম নিন্দা খ্যাতি তসুক রথুক সজ্জন জ্ঞাতি আমি কিছুতে বিমল ভাতি ভুলিতে নারিব ভাইরে আমি শুধু চাই হরি হরি বলে নাচিতে so this rituals like prashchitta pindadana all these are very important as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us and asked by his example we should do it but most important part is whatever you do main prashchitta is that we have committed many sin unknowingly this life, yes, many lives. So all this sin will be washed away simply by taking shelter at the lotus feet of the holy name. Chant the holy name of the Lord offenselessly and with love and devotion. So all this will be done. There is not that time that is not so important for the person one who has taken complete shelter at the lotus feet of the holy name. That is what we understand from this verse. But it is
Thank
nice.
you, Prabhu.
We must follow
Thank
these rituals like Pendadana, Shraddha, and all this after the father death or mother death. We have to be very careful on those days, 14 days or 12 days, whatever days given. So we have to very carefully perform devotional service and chant the holy name and do whatever given in Veda. You know? So unless we follow Veda, then how we can preach to others about the Veda and Vedic philosophy and all that? It's a very important part.
Thank you, Prabhu. We will end the discussion with Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam.
Sankirtanam.
Thank you very much. Hare
Hari
Krishna.
Bol. Hare Krishna.